Today is the 22nd of November, 2003, and I'm here at Church of the Epiphany, which will be closing its last service tomorrow at 4 in the afternoon. And I will be taking you through the church and showing you all kinds of things. This is the back baptismal font where Lily was baptized this year. And it's pretty cool. It says one Lord, one faith, one baptism around it. This is the back window, which both Lily and Angie would stare at when we'd have them over our shoulders. And down here you have where we ushered usually. The ushers usually handled everything. This is the door we usually entered from. It's the communion plates here. I always thought it was interesting because they were set up or donated in 1913, which is the same year both of my grandparents were born. Padded on the inside, and one of them I always noticed has a break right here. It must have been fixed. I always wondered how it got broken, but never found out. Take you over here. It's the other side. Over here, there's a sign next to the door. I've got a long extension cord because the batteries don't work for this camera. Pax vobiscum. Can't guarantee I will catch every single stained glass window for you, but I do want to cover them as best as I can. And the chains are what open the windows, open and shut. It's always interesting opening and closing them. This is an umbrella stand nobody ever used. And we always had these fans, these wicker fans. You know, Ryan C. Pinkerton donates to the church. Use them a lot because the church is heated, but it doesn't have much of a cooling system. The Flemings just a couple weeks ago drew these, and they're still sitting here. This is where all of the tags are. I took my ushering tag home and never brought it back. So, and this is where the Boltons always were. And here's where we stood. We were ushering, and here is the main church. Epiphany is 100 years old, older than that. Let's see here, 98, and it's 115 years old. And it's being closed down because we've been in financial straits for quite a while, and it just is difficult to obtain. This is the aisle, of course. I always thought that these reflections in the carpet looked like arrows pointing up towards the altar. And the pews are numbered. Here's pew 39, pew 40. There's 42 pews. And then there's pews on the sides also. Screen put in a little while back. And the altar used to not be that open in the entry area to it. There used to be pews here and here and here, and pews on the other side. And they've opened it up. It was the summer before Amber and I got married. And I remember I was at a Vestry meeting when we were discussing the work being done, and I said, please, 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 just make sure it all gets done before the wedding. I'm going to pan up to show you the ceiling here. It may seem odd to show you the ceiling of a church, but considering how much time you spend sitting there, time to look around, I always thought these looked like spaceships, like a one over the other formation. And on this one right above me, there's a, oh, I hit a button. Get that cleared off. On this one right above me right here, there is a little rubber band up there. Because one time in youth group, for something to keep the kids busy, I had them firing rubber bands over those to see if they could get up there. And I fired one up there, and it stayed. And it is probably still there to this day. Doesn't come in very well, does it? The sun's on that side of the church, that's why. I can't go much further up here, so I'll be cutting off soon. But, here's a typical pew. You want to sit down in a pew? We'll do that. Let's sit down in pew number 35. Here we are in pew number 35. You can imagine you're sitting here enjoying the service. Pastor's up there, sometimes up in the pulpit. Very rarely do we have a public pulpit preacher here. And I'm going to turn off the camera, and when I come back, we'll be closer up towards the altar. Got a view of the baptismal font and the back window. And off to one side, we have pews here. I almost never sat over here, but I have been over. And stained glass window here. I'm going to come over closer and see if I can get you a good look. This over here. Oh, good. It'll lead me to almost either side. Excellent. Says, to the glory of God, in honor of those in the Church of the Epiphany of Bellevue and its societies who gave themselves for service on the side of humanity in the World War 1914 and 1919. I did not notice that. I always figured that this was like a plaque for the church. I didn't realize it was a memorial for war. Well, you learn something new every day. And I'm sure I'm not even close to learning all of Epiphany's secrets. So. Here's our banner. We have another banner up here over. Arlene Kane and Patty DeWalt are working on the altar right now for the final service. And this is the chapel. I'll be showing you that later. One of our banners. I'll show you all these because I don't know what's going to happen to them once the church closes up. Let's go over to the other side. I'll show you that. And I did sit over here quite a bit because the bell choir was right here. And with Angela and Lily, we found that it was easy to sit over here and zip out through the door to the nursery over here. I always had to tell the youth group to lay off those wheelchairs, so they definitely wanted to play with them. It's a stained glass window. And American flag. And here, this is the lectern with the Bible. It's on it right now. It's carved into an eagle. I always really liked this. And over here, the pulpit. Take out the. That didn't sound good. It's okay. It just fell off. Okay. Alright. Here's the pulpit. Light. And Here is the organ pipes. Now these pipes you see in the front are all fake. The actual pipes of the organ you can see through the gaps. But they're awfully nice looking, and I thought they actually were the organ pipes until one day I looked up and realized they weren't vibrating. So, the organ, the choir master here, when I first started up, his name was Stan Tagg, and the pastor, when I first got here in late 1986, was Pastor Father Colby, or Father Colby, or Pastor Colby, whatever you'd have. These were also moved out from when I first got to the church. They used to be straight right here, and they moved them out at more of an angle, and I thought that it looked much better that way. Now this spot right here, where I've been standing, this is where Amber and I got married. This very spot. There are pictures, but there's no video. And we sat over here for it. And this is also where Angela got baptized. Angela got baptized. They would bring out a card table and a punch bowl on it, and they blessed the water in the punch bowl. And the point was that it was easier to have it up here, where the whole congregation could watch. Whereas when they use the baptismal font in the back, everybody had to leave the pews and go and crowd around there. It was a little uncomfortable. So Philip always had his baptisms up here. However, Lily was baptized back there. So, and so moving on from there, let's move up onto the altar. Let me show you these real quick. I always thought, wow, those stone blocks up there are really neat. And then a couple of years back, you can see there's a spot up here which has been repaired because there were a couple blocks starting to lean out, and I remember thinking, oh my god, when those come down, it's gonna hurt somebody. Well, when they finally did fall, it turned out that they're just foam pads up there, made to look like blocks. So nobody got hurt, of course, when I fell. It just kind of went bump. So, right. So we're going to move on up to the altar now. The steps. Amber and I sat over here after a thing, and I remember adjusting Amber's train over here. They were praying over us. The organ is right over here. I think I have enough line to run me over. Yes, excellent. And here's the keyboard. And I remember it's a light switch right over here, which starts it up. And I remember one time when everybody was in coffee hour, I snuck over here and turned on the organ and started hitting keys. And I remember Father Colby coming in saying, "Take your hands off that instrument!" And I don't blame him now that I'm older, definitely. You know, it's not the kind of thing you want to play with. But it's pretty neat. Pretty neat. I have played it a couple times with permission. Not that I can play well, but it was neat. Getting the keys and playing with the dip switches down underneath. Yep. Of course, we have an electric keyboard now also, and that helps out. It gives a lot of sounds and neat stuff. Alright. So do the readings. And here's a shot of the pulpit. And I'll give you guys a view of... Oh, these blocks right here reminded me of Legos when I was a kid, when I was younger. How the side ones there, and then they're all built up. Many a service I've stared at that and thought Legos. I think it's the first time I've ever said that thought aloud.
Is that right? I think that about the ceiling. I stare at it frequently.
Yeah. And here is the altar. Now it's got a metal rod which goes across, which we're going to have demonstrated for us. Want me to get it?
Well, let me try.
There we go. Good show, good show. And this just goes across and fits in there, and that other little nub goes in there usually when it's shut, but everybody always forgets, and it's okay. Right now it's being polished, I guess.
Yes, I'm polishing.
Yes. This is Patty DeWalt, everyone.
Aye.
I'm sorry, just you're on the video. And IHS. I never knew what IHS meant. Do you know?
I still don't know what it means.
Oh, well, that sorts it out. And behind the altar it says, I am the bread of life.
What does IHS mean? You know? Sorry? IHS? IHS. Have no idea.
In his service?
In his service, maybe?
My Holy Second. I don't know.
And we have fans up here, of course, from the summer, because it gets mighty hot up here. And when you're wearing the alb, it is insanely hot up here. And, you know, you get beads of sweat coming down your face, and it's kind of crazy. I'm going to take you up there and show you all this. First, I want to give you a good shot of the stained glass window. There's a light outside. The switch is over in the annex where you can turn it on, so that way during night services the window is lit up. And you'll see there's a gap between this wooden section right here in the back. That's because there's a secret passage I'll be showing you later, which leads behind there, which was immensely popular when we used to play sardines.
See those bowls over there? Over here? There used to be at one time a root beam.
What? A wood beam? Oh.
Root beam.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean here in the in this right here?
In the arch.
Yeah.
Here.
Mm-hmm.
And they took it down because people didn't like being separated.
Mm.
You're getting me on camera.
I'm sorry.
That's all right, I don't care. But there was a son of the rector that was here at the time that the root beam was put up, explaining all that the other day.
Wow.
He and his wife were visiting from Florida.
Yeah, a lot of people swinging by from the past that we don't even really know.
Yeah.
A lot of people from Epiphany over the years.
Yeah.
I've been here 17 years, first got here in 1986. And I was confirmed right here on these steps. We actually have video of that.
Well, so I was confirmed here too.
Well,
by,
there you go. Alden?
Bishop Hathaway.
Alden, yeah. Alden
Yep.
Hathaway
Yep.
was the bishop until 1990 something or other. And then Bishop Duncan took over. I have to say all this stuff because everybody's listening to this.
This is true. Needs to.
Gobs of people sitting on their couches right now going, hey, how about that? Alrighty. So let's take you up. I'm going to pass you underneath here. Yeah, it always pops off.
Okay, I just didn't want you to lose something.
I've lost a lot in my life. Okay. Everybody's like, good, Kevin, now let me look at something. Okay, here we are at the altar. I'm going to take you up here. Here's behind the altar. I've stood here a few times myself. First time nervous. You know, not the guy that struck me down. I wasn't sure whether I was allowed up here. But here's a shot from the altar. Squeeze up here. And there you go. That's the shot from up here. And candles. And the chalice. And the candles. And you can look right down there to see the secret passage I'll show you later. Wow. It's beautiful from up here. An interesting story, when the bishop was here once, was I was the chalicer. And I was told by Philip Bottomley, who was sitting right over here, that carry the cross up and stand here, and don't, and you can set the cross down when the bishop sits down. And the bishop went and stood through 3 songs from the hymn book. And my arms were killing me. And Philip was evidently down there in the pew thinking, you can sit down now, Kevin. You can sit down now, Kevin. But, you know, this kind of stuff happens. One of the things I've loved about Epiphany is that, you know, we're very big on getting things done correctly. But, you know, a mix-up is perfectly acceptable. You know, we're all human. And I have to thank Epiphany for giving me that chance. I chaliced often in the past. Since 1993, I've been chalicing, and usually I stand over here and help things out here, and go down the chalice, blood of Christ, the cup of salvation. It's hard for me because I'm really tall, and serving the chalice to people, only a couple of people in this church are just tall enough to let me give them the chalice easy enough. So, anyways, we're going to move on to the chapel now. Come on, focus. Focus. Good. For this part, because I can only find one outlet to plug the camera into for this shot. This is the chapel, where the Svet Chapel was for one of the happenings that I worked on. And we also did Vacation Bible School. Philip and I turned this place into a time-traveling machine, complete with paper over the windows and gauges and dials, and it flew around to different parts. So we were teaching the Bible during the Sun Zone Science Vacation Bible School. And here is the altar here. Very nice altar. And the blessed oil, stained glass above it. And right here is the retro light that we keep lit. Gets replaced with a new candle every week, I just found out. And this is the ombre where we keep the consecrated things, oils and things like that. Now, the interesting thing that I always found to be the most fascinating thing about our chapel is the secret door, which is right here. See, it blends in perfectly. Right through here is a secret passageway that leads through. Across the back of the church. You can see I showed you down into here from the thing. Other way. You can see I have the camera plugged in right over there because I couldn't find another plug. Which I'll probably run into one when I leave. So anyways, let's move over to the sacristy, which is right over on the other side. Here we are in the sacristy. Sacristy of the church is we use the church to film Justin's and my media project in 11th grade, which was a movie called Generic Man, and it's right here that I use my strobe light, and we got footage of me standing right over here going "Rrr," and there's Bishop Duncan, and here's the I think this is a chapter of it's this the yes, the Church of the Epiphany, an instrument presented to me, yada yada, blah blah blah. Pretty cool. And Jesus in the temple. And here's the Daughters of the King. And over here we have things. And I drank water with my hands directly from this spigot on my wedding day because I was pacing back and forth in this room. When I walked out of here, here's the entrance to the church, by the way. Walked out of here, I walked out and turned at the aisle and walked down, and when I turned, the church was full, and I was just amazed that we filled the church for our wedding. These things we keep, candles and things like that. Here, the bottom is where we keep the Bible, and here is the cross that I held while the bishop wouldn't sit down, and these are what are used to light the but I always wondered why there's no clappers in these bells when I was a kid, and then I of course helped out as an altar boy, and found out that they're just to snuff out candles. Now, that secret passageway I was showing you about, oh, by the way, this is where we would always run in, see whether we're doing anything for the day. I'm chalicing tomorrow with Mike Janisewski. And over here, right in here, cleverly disguised as a door, is the other end of that secret passage I was telling you about, which isn't used all that much. And over here is the safe where all the church records are kept. They'll be moved, of course, probably to the main diocese. Lots of kids have asked me what's in there. And I've had plenty of answers, such as, it's the entrance to McDonald Land. Things like that. Pretty stupid, really. But anyways, that's the safe. It's all kept. And move on. This is also where we always did our counting when we played sardines at the youth group. Or this was kind of like home base. And in here, I think I can show you in here without even actually going in there. Running the thing in. But this is where we get dressed. This is the library. So the robes are right here. And this was Laura Tice's office before she left. I'm going to take you over there later and look at those picture boards. So, when we had the youth group, this was called the Star Trek chair. So, let's move on. And of course here is your intrepid video camera guy of the church that I first entered Epiphany Church for an evening Sunday Night Alive session back when Father Colby was pastor. The pastoral lineage, by the way, while I was here was Pastor Colby. Then we had an interim Milana Nelson Amaker. Then we had Philip Bottomley. And then we had Pastor Phyllis. And this, of course, is the entry area. Our Suburban Adult Services uses this now. And light. And here's the hall. Light switch right there. This leads to the annex. This leads to the parish hall. And this leads upstairs to the kitchens. Why don't you come with me? Over here. Here's the nursery. Amber asked specifically that I get some good footage of this because this is where Angela and Lily play during the service. It's a connection that they have. Typically they played with Carson Laurie and Dominic. And Carson is 4, I think, or 5, and Dominic was about Lily's age. And Lily is 8 months old at this point, and Angela is 2, getting close to 3 this November. And TV set. There's so much I want to get on video, but I just can't get everything. Understandably. You can open these up and hide in them if they're empty, and it was a very popular hiding spot for hide and seek and sardines. Sardines being the opposite of hide and seek. One person hides and everybody else hides, and one person seeks. And one person hides and everybody else seeks. And when you find the person, you squeeze in there with them. So, lots of fun toys in here that girls love to play with. I've lugged that television around the church about 80 million times. And, okay. And down here, we have the parish hall, which has more memories than I can count. When I first got here, it was maroon. White walls. The ceiling fans were just put in recently. This door leads into a closet which goes through there, and the windows over here cut down, and when you go in through the closet and go underneath the steps, there's a hole which leads from the closet out to the windows. And we were playing sardines once, and I was hiding in there, and we always screamed Deo if nobody seemed to be able to find you, and I was hollering Deo through that hole, and they'd all run upstairs and think I was up there, and then I'd yell Deo, they'd all come running back downstairs, and I'd yell Deo, and the whole time I was right there at that spot, hollering through there. The entrance is over here. I'd closed the door and put a table in front, with a table closing in front of it, so people thought that I couldn't have possibly hidden in there. And it's probably the second best hiding spot ever history of sardines. The best hiding spot belongs to David Hively, actually, who hid in a chute in the basement and lived to tell the tale. And we couldn't find him. And it took me forever to get him to convince me to tell me where he was, because I know darn near every single spot in this church. Anyway, oh, and this is where our rehearsal dinner was. The table that Amber and I smashed cake in each other's faces is right here. My family was over here, Amber's family over here, and people are here. I gave Mike and Kevin and everybody their gifts right here. It's the stage. I sang Pharaoh, Pharaoh, dressed in garb. It's the song tune of Louie Louie, only it's about Pharaoh leaving. It's about Pharaoh letting Moses go, and I remember getting down to it. I had backup singers and all. It was fun. And coffee hour was always here. The coffee was always here. Tables along here. And this bar here, even at this age, people still hang on it. And everybody always said it was going to come down. You know what? It's been a long time, and that darn thing has never come down. All the people have hung on it, not on plaster. All right. So let's move on to. As I said, there was a dumbwaiter over here. That's the problem. Okay. Dumbwaiter over here, and I used to hide in here. And in there, and I'm really gonna miss this place. I think that's what I covered. Anyway, now let's go in here. Upper Parish Hall, where we typically had great feasts, ate, things like that. And we had children's church up here too. Did a lot of singing. Read your Bible and pray every day, pray every day, pray every day. Read your Bible and pray every day, and you grow, grow, grow. So, and over here is another entrance to the hall. And we just came up those steps. And I don't think I can make it all the way over there, plug in there. But, it's pretty cool. And we'll move on. This is the rainbow room. Called that because there's a rainbow in here. There's a Holy Spirit dove behind there. You can see the top of the head sticking through here. Of course, everything's covered up now. I haven't been up here for a while. There's a butterfly behind this. And this, of course, is Diggum the Frog. Nobody ever calls him that because it's probably copyright stuff. And it looks like Diggum to me, at least. And this is a Sunday school room. It's also where Amber got ready for the wedding with her bridesmaids. Over here, I want to point out this N on the door. There's an N right here. I think everybody thought it was nursery because the nursery used to be up here, because that's why I had the stuff. But I was walking to church one day, and I was walking along. I was wearing just a flannel shirt, which was open on the front, and a white undershirt underneath it. And I found this N lying on the ground right there. And I picked it up and just stuck it to my shirt and spent the whole service with that N on my shirt. When I came up here afterwards, for some reason, I pulled it off my shirt and I put it there. This was 13 years ago, something like that, 13, 14 years ago. And the N is still there. I think everybody thinks it means nursery. But that's the story behind the N. And I wonder how long it's going to be there, because I'm not taking it off. I always thought this was a paper plate, but it's just blocking something. And this door opens up to the annex part. Down the steps, which is where we'll be going right now. I really didn't have many stories of this room. It was mostly just a pass-through. But however, I can say that I helped move all these cabinets and things in here. We were moving stuff around the church one day. There was once a mattress propped up against the wall in here, and I remember I hid in this spot and propped the mattress up there for sardines. Nobody found me then either. I was the king of sardines. Of course, it helped that I had a good 10 years on all the kids and youth group, but being at this church. This is my youth office. It was moved from the other office. Not much to it now. The Flemings gave us this dollhouse. I really ought to take it home, but I keep on forgetting. I might just forget forever, too. Bug Safari we did a couple years back. It's just a bunch of stuff. Oh, wow. Old stuff here. This is for a Polaroid scavenger hunt we did once. You can see the Polaroid scavenger hunt. You give the kids Polaroid cameras, and they go places and get their pictures taken. Different stuff. And over here, under all this, is Scrunch. I'm going to take this home. And it was to squeeze stuff in to different places. I think I will take this home today. This old church photocopier. And over here, this is the music room now, but it used to be the counseling room, and we used to have many youth group meetings and things like that in here. It's very cold, though, on Youth Street, so we never really slept here. There's access to the attic up here. I've only been up there once. I've been almost everywhere in the church. Almost everywhere. So, this used to be out in the other room where my youth office is now, and everybody used to tap it when they went past, so you always knew when the youth were walking through there because you hear shh. Alrighty. And now we're going to go down this hall. Oh, and let me see if I can get over there. I really can't get in there now. This belongs to North Suburban Adult Services, but that is the youth room, which was originally Julie Stewart's, and mine too. So, and Lisa Hurst's, when Lisa was our youth leader here. Well, I was her assistant. Bathroom right here, I'm sure is just being used for storage. I find a switch. Where is the switch? I'm not going to bother. Oh, here it is. Always took a while to warm up. Here we go. Yep. So there you have it. And now we can go down the steps to the annex. Steps that we just came down. This is the annex. Got a dolly painting the Last Supper of the fireplace. And, this little Jesus thing with wooden blocks, the youth group always thought was really neat because they just look at the wooden blocks. They thought it didn't say anything, but if you look between the wooden blocks, you see that it says Jesus. I saw it said Jesus right off the bat. It always amazed me when people are like, "What's it?" "Oh, it says Jesus." So, go figure. There used to not be a fake fireplace in here. There was just a real fireplace, and it was clean, and crawl in there. And I've done that a couple times. Lots of youth groups spent here. This is where we met for youth group typically. This is the dining area. This is where Vestry meetings were, and where we'd eat pizza for youth group. Lots of fun. Thingamabob. The temperature gauge, that's what I was going to say. Oops. Just a second, folks. I'm going to untangle that. This is the kitchen. Got a lot of fun in here, just gabbing and eating, and a lot of good social time in here. And down here, our pastor's office. Let's see if we can go down there. And over here is men's and women's room. And here is the church office, which I no longer have a key to, but you can look inside. Stephen Rice and I used to hang out in the church because it was easy to pick the lock when I was a teenager. It was a silly idea in retrospect, but you know teenagers, and I was one, just like everybody else was. All you needed was a paper clip and slide through the lock, and ta-da! You get in. Steph and I used to hang out here, and our rationale was it's better to here than on the streets. Stephen used to call his girlfriend from here and rack up long distance charges, which I was not a part of. But needless to say, I was asked about it. Of course, I had to be honest and told the truth. So, this is the pastor's office. It used to be the tape ministry office when I was the tape minister. And it was moved to the pastor's office. It was on that very couch right there that Amber and I went through pre-marriage classes with Philip. And what a wonderful time we had, too. Fantastic. I'm really blessed with Amber. Philip was kind enough to meet with us for a full year and do the prepare test with us. So, and let's see here. I'm going to take you down to the basement just to show you that hiding spot that Dave had. So, let's go down to the basement. I'm on the steps already. This is the basement. Here's the heat controls. At least the old heat controls. I don't know whether they still do it. Haven't really needed to tinker with it for a while since we got the new heater. We were trying to set this up for the youth group, foosball table and stuff, but the youth group stopped in March or so. Oh no, Eddie took over. Eddie, what was Eddie's last name? I'll find out. A guy named Eddie took over. It was his son Dominic, his wife Marla, who played with Angie and Lily, and of course Carson Laurie, and all of the Laurie kids except for Carson were members of the youth group. Hot water heater here. Now I wanted to show you where Dave hid, where we couldn't find him. Technically, the basement was off limits, but technically he wasn't in the basement either. Come with me over here. Dave hid in here. He climbed up. There was something right here, as you can see the rim from it, and he climbed up and went in that. And he was hollering, and we could hear him through the floor, but we couldn't find him. We even came down here to the basement looking for him. So, there you have it. Let's go back up to the annex, and we'll close it. See if I can get down here to the pastor's hall. Yeah, pretty much, almost. It's Alden Hathaway and John Warren, the 6th rector. Here's Pastor Philip Bottomley, the one who I was here under the most. Here's Grant LaRue and a number of other pastors. Over here is Thomas, I think. I can't get far enough over to read it. Thomas, William Thomas, and the Reverend Kerfoot, and Austin Perdue, and Kenneth Waldron. And that's our pastor's board. So I wish I could get down here because there's a list of pastors down here. Is there a plug in here anywhere? I don't see one. So anyways, I'm going to round us out. So, it's rectors. Over the years, there's been quite a few of them. I knew Stephen Knoll, but I wasn't here under him. Left in '84, and Father Colby, and Nelson Onlicker, and Philip Bottomley. Philip Bottomley is in Virginia now. Good guy. Here's the so anyways, so that's Church of the Epiphany. This is the outer area. If I had $1 million to give the church, I wanted to get a big thing built here. We were never able to really meet here or play here much because there's a big dog in that thing over there, and there's always been a big dog there. And the first one, his name was Bo, and I don't know whether it has a name, whether it has a different name now, but it always barked at everybody. See, it's looking at that guy. And so we never really did much out there because we didn't want the dog barking at us for it. So anyways, that's Church of the Epiphany, and we'll get our jackets and say thanks for a good long time at Church of the Epiphany Episcopal.